Welcome to The Counteroffer with Jenny Kim and Meredith Alderson.
We're two top producing agents in Austin who are going to be talking about lifestyle, business, and what really happens behind the deals.
The Counteroffer with Meredith, Alderson, and Jenny Kim.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Counteroffer. We're so excited to be here. It is, I feel like, officially spring.
Well, the weather and the market.
Yeah. Well,
right?
the weather's been insane, but the market is, in my opinion, on fire. Dare I say, on fire?
I feel the same. We are so busy. We're putting 2 listings a week on the market.
Wow, that's
I'm trying to limit it to
huge.
2 because it's, people are ready to get their houses out there, but buyers are active and it feels exciting now to have listings. We're like the last 2 years.
It was like anxiety driving.
Yeah,
I've got a new listing. I guess it'll be
Exactly.
on the market for 120 days.
Yeah.
What else has been going on in your life, Meredith?
Okay, well, I took my team this week to see Lady Gaga.
Okay, best boss ever.
Had
Oh.
the best time. It was everyone's holiday present, and then it happened to coincide with Adam's birthday, so it was
Shout out to
the
Adam.
best,
Aw,
the absolute best.
that's so
I'm not
fun.
sure that yesterday was our most productive day following the concert, but we
That's
had a good
okay.
time.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fun. Where was she performing at?
At the Moody Center.
Great
Yeah,
venue.
amazing.
Yeah, I
what
heard
about
she's.
you?
Honestly, spring break is next week. We're going to be gone for an entire week, so that lead up, which is this week, has been insane. Just
Yeah.
making sure everything is in order, that my clients are taken care of, and I feel like anytime I go on vacation, I have to not only prepare for like the family, the packing, and all that, but like prepare to hopefully unplug a little bit.
But that's impossible.
I know, but I will do my
forget
best.
too. Sometimes I take a vacation, and when I come back, I think like it was more work leading up to the
Yeah.
vacation and the week after the
Yes.
vacation. And it makes you sometimes question, is vacation worth it? But
Yeah.
it is.
It is.
It is.
It
It's a
is.
great time
And
with your family.
we're going to be in Colorado in the mountains, hopefully skiing, but I don't know. The snow has not been great in Colorado this year. So I'm really trying to be intentional about, okay, what can I do, control now, so
Yeah.
that I don't have to do it while I'm up there.
Yeah.
So that's been my week so
Oh,
far.
I'm so glad you're going to get that time with
Yeah.
everyone.
I'm excited.
So fun. I also am headed out on spring break. I'm going on senior spring break.
Ooh. You're visiting the...
200 12th graders, 18-year-olds.
Oh, sorry. Okay, senior high school.
Yeah,
Okay,
senior
whoa.
high school.
So
Yeah.
you're going with the entire class?
Well, it's not the entire class, but it's an optional trip, of course.
Okay.
And yes.
Where are you guys
we're
going?
To Cancun.
Wow.
So-
Wait, so are you like chaperoning, or is it
Not
families are
really.
going too?
I mean, if you're 18 in Mexico, you
Anything
pretty
goes?
much,
Yeah.
anything goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am going. I think that the parents probably will not have much interaction with the kids except for like arranged parties. But
Yeah, that's
it'll
so
be fun.
I'm
It'll be fun.
surprised that a bunch of 18-year-olds are like happy to have their parents join them in Mexico.
Well, they don't really have an option. if we're all being honest, we were
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think some of the parents are probably like more excited for the trip. than the kids
I'm
are.
sure. I'm sure they are. They get to kind of low-key spy on their kids.
Yeah.
But Meredith, I saw recently that you were named in Luxury League.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Jenny, I don't know if you saw any of the social media
I saw a
content,
little
but
bit.
We did. So the Luxury League, for those that don't know, it's like top 30 luxury agents in Austin. And we had a photo shoot on a private jet.
It was so extra.
It
I
was-
saw clips of it and I was like, wait, where are they? And did you guys like go
People
fly
were
somewhere?
asking me like where I flew.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, I've never flown on a private jet. Probably never will, but it felt pretty special.
Yeah, so tell us about the shoot.
Okay, so it's basically you and a bunch of photographers out on the tarmac. The wind was insane though.
Like good?
It was-
Like
no,
in my face, like
you
not
step
good.
out of the plane and your hair is like immediately across your whole face.
Oh.
And you're trying to like get down the plane stairs in heels with the wind blowing. It was
Not
a whole
a good
situation.
combo, yeah.
But it was so much fun.
Have you seen the photos?
I've seen a few.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are many that did not make the cut just because people's hair was so crazy. And even like when you're walking towards the photographer, like literally my body was blowing
Yeah.
over. My bag was up. Like it was just a whole situation. But It was really,
What a
really
cool
fun.
experience,
Yeah.
though. Like
I can't
private
wait to
jet,
see-
photo shoot.
I can't wait to see
That's
everyone's.
exciting. Congrats.
So
That's
thank
huge.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very exciting.
Jenny, congrats. I saw you just sold something off market.
I sure did.
I thought this would be a good topic for us to chat about. Like, what's that look like in Austin?
Yeah.
How do we help our clients strategize around off market? What's it mean for agents? Where people find the off market opportunities? Because
Yeah.
I know that buyers and sellers have a lot of questions about this, but there's probably not a lot of transparency. So let's break it down.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few different off-channel markets in Austin, but the newest one that I'm pretty excited about is called Flex, as you know. It was released by Austin Board of Realtors, integrated into our MLS, and essentially it's the MLS's off-market network, and it's accessible to all agents, which is great because a lot of the other off-market channels, as you know, is membership based or invite only. So Flex is great because you can essentially get it out to all the agents that are a part of the MLS. My last closing was a Flex listing, which I was super excited about, especially because it was an owner occupied listing. I had it actually listed last year for a couple months, and it was just a brutal market. It sat there, and we decided to pull it. And we were going to let it reset and try again in the spring. And during that time, I was like, hey, why don't we just push it out off market? We can keep the price and just see what kind of interest we get.
Yeah, you never know when a buyer
Yeah.
might be interested.
And especially because I feel like buyers that are looking, or agents with buyers that are looking very that are motivated, are going after the off-market channels,
Yeah.
right? They're actively looking for those listings, those hidden gems. So I knew that anyone that requested a showing through an off-market channel would be a serious buyer.
Right.
And especially for owner-occupied listings.
Yeah, they're not wasting a lot of time letting random people through their
they
house.
didn't love
Yeah.
the open houses every weekend. They didn't love, the neighbor coming by looking at their
Yeah.
house, or just the person that looks at their house and they're like, oh, well, our lease is not up for 6 months, so we're just browsing. So essentially we had it on Flex. You don't have to have a price, right? You don't have to, you won't be accruing days on market. There's really no historical data that's captured by the MLS, which is the beauty of it, because essentially you could put it on, take it off, put it on, test this price, test that price, and it's really awesome to just gather data.
It's so powerful. Think about all the people who are like, we'd sell if we could find a buyer, right? Like people who are just sort of dabbling but
Yeah.
not seriously listing. It's perfect for that, right? Or
Absolutely.
getting it out there sooner than maybe you're ready, just to kind of gauge interest.
Yeah, and
Also a great way to like test price.
100%. I mean, I think especially for sellers who are really wanting to aggressively price, I think it tells a story, right? Like, okay, great, we can list it on the off-market channels at that price and see if we get any showings.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then we probably need to revisit the pricing, right? So I've definitely used it as a tool not only to get listings out there, but also to have honest conversations with sellers.
I love it too from an agent perspective of it does sort of level the playing field, right? Where you talked about we've had these private networks, but you have to pay to
Right.
belong, and it's not cheap, right? And so it tends to be the most active agents in the luxury spaces who are members of these platforms, and these platforms are amazing.
Yeah.
But you're right, this opens it up to all agents. And even then, they can send these listings to their clients as well. So
Well,
it's
it's
just
my understanding that clients actually even get the listings in their inboxes if it falls within the parameters
Yeah.
that they're searching for, which
Yeah.
is super exciting. I think not enough agents know about it yet. And I'm always asking agents that ask me to see an off-market listing, how did you find it, right?
Right.
Is it through Flex?
Right.
Is it through TAN? All these other
Yeah.
networks. And almost no one ever says Flex, but I think it's because people don't realize that it's Flex.
I think so many people don't. I think a lot of agents don't even know it exists still, right?
Yeah.
And so they think it's just a regular active listing.
100%, but it's such an amazing tool. I'm so happy we have it, and I hope more agents start using it.
What a great thing for us to be able to provide our sellers
Yeah.
and our buyers
Yes.
opportunities that they wouldn't know about.
I'm so glad you said that, because I actually have shown and submitted offers on Flex listings. Have yet to get one under contract, but it is such a flex, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
to be able to send your client an off-market listing and say, hey,
Totally.
this is coming in 2 weeks. Let's go check it out before it hits the market. So huge win for buyers and sellers.
I had a situation with a private listing recently, and I feel like this was a huge success story too. My clients had bought a house, and they knew that they needed to move out of their old house in order to get it ready and staged to market it, right?
Yep.
So once we had gone under contract on their new house and we knew we were moving forward, we were past all contingencies, we put their house on Flex just with a picture from my iPhone. We hadn't done professional photos. We hadn't done the floor plan. They
Wow.
hadn't done any of the make ready, which was probably $10,000 in make ready
Yeah.
work to get it ready for the market. And we got under contract.
Wow.
And they never had to have an open house. They never had to show it.
Was
They
it
showed
for the
to one
price
buyer.
that
It was
y'all
the price
wanted?
that they wanted.
Ugh, that's
And they
amazing.
didn't have to get the house ready.
Yeah.
And so now they're going to have back-to-back closings instead of a period of time
And
where
they've just
they're carrying
saved
two
$10,000
houses.
too.
Plus not carrying two mortgages
Yeah.
for any period of time.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
There's a lot of power there.
Was that through Flex?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Jenny, one of the things that I struggle with a lot is work-life balance.
Oh, that phrase, work-life balance, is so
I don't even
loaded.
like the phrase, to be
Same,
honest.
same.
I feel like we should call it something else.
it's like work-life waves, I feel like, for me.
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah.
Truly, personally, I don't think a balance is achievable.
I do not either.
It's kind of like a tipping scale, right? Like sometimes I'm really in growth mode and it's busy, and then sometimes I can focus on my family, right? And it's kind of the beauty and the curse of the business, I think. But work-life balance has been, I feel like for all realtors is kind of like that. Do I have it? How do I get it?
I
Is
think
it possible?
that, I mean, society makes us feel this guilt by just even having that phrase,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's like, if you don't have balance, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
And I think you're right. Like it's an ebb and flow at all times.
Yep.
So how do you reconcile in your head when you feel good about whatever that, not balance is, but whatever the word you call it?
Yeah, the ebb and flow. I like that. So, I mean, there was definitely a period in my career, early on, and especially because I started right before COVID. So I really entered the market at its peak where it was exciting and it was business left and right. It was a great time to be a realtor, but I feel like I just threw myself into it and almost like had blinders on. It was exciting, but I knew that there was no balance. I mean, it wasn't even like ebb and flow. It was just all flow.
Yeah. So Jenny, what does balance, if you want to use that word, look like to you?
Well, I think honestly, when I started real estate, right before COVID, a couple years before, and so I really entered the industry when it was at its peak, right? I mean, business was flowing for everybody, and I really threw myself into real estate because I loved it. It was exciting, and it was flowing, right? But I do, at that time, feel like I just had blinders on, and I was just so focused on growing my business that my family life definitely suffered.
Yeah, you get lost in it.
Yeah, and your mental, like you just get sucked in and you have blinders on. So at that time, being a new realtor, I just thought like produce. Like that's how you're gonna make it. And slowly but surely, I've learned over the years that you have to have boundaries because it's just not sustainable. You're gonna burn out. You're going to start to resent it. Relationships in your life are going to suffer.
Something's going to suffer.
Something's going to
Yeah.
give, right? So I think I really evolved as an agent when I started putting up boundaries. So, not having to respond to every single email and every single text the minute it comes in, right? Reserving some of my weekends to spend time with my family. And I'm still working on that. It's still really difficult for me to really compartmentalize and be able to intentionally set time for my business and my family.
Because even if you've set time aside, sometimes your mind is on your work.
Right.
Right.
And sometimes you have to address things, just
Right.
because I'm on vacation, I can't not respond to my clients or not
we have
negotiate a deal.
deadlines,
Yeah.
right? And we're talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollar deals
Yes.
that we are responsible for
Yes.
the next step.
100%. And I think my mentality has really switched though, because now when I do get a day where I'm not having a flurry of emails, I am so leaning into my day off, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm really pouring into myself and
Same.
spending the time with my family and putting my phone and laptop away. And it's sweeter, right? Because you just know, like, okay, in a couple hours, I'm going to be on the other side probably. So
Okay,
just
wait.
savor
I'm going
that.
to call you out for a second
Okay.
because do you really put your laptop away?
I
was just
do.
thinking as we started this conversation, I was like, I literally do not leave home without my laptop.
Okay,
Like,
that is
I
true.
have my phone and my laptop
Yes.
with me at all times. It may
That
be in
is
my
true.
car, But how many times have you been like up against a deadline and a document needs to be
Yes.
revised?
Okay. Yes, 100%. If there's a deadline, then no. I have my phone and my laptop. If I know, like, I have very active buyers, we could be submitting an offer anytime, then yes. But we have rules. I have boundaries. Meals. The second I wake up, I try not to check any emails. Mornings and evenings. Mornings are about getting the kids ready, getting them out the door. And I really try not to look at my phone until everyone's out of the house.
Yeah.
And then same with my laptop. It stays in my office. So we have this rule: no laptops in the kitchen or on the island, because that's usually where I would be doing a lot of my
You're
work.
so good. You
I
need
had
to
to,
have like a boot
Meredith.
camp. I need to come to yours.
I had to. It just was too much, honestly. And so I had to set some boundaries.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've been in this so much longer. You've seen obviously the up and the downs. Like, how are you balancing it all?
Well, I have never liked that phrase work-life balance, because I do think it creates this, it's always made me feel guilt. And I think the last thing we as especially working moms need is more guilt,
Yeah.
right? And so for me, it's the best advice someone gave me is you don't need to be available every hour of every day. And I think when I started my career, very much like you, I wanted to just pour everything into the business and
'Cause
grow
you
the
liked
business.
it. You
Yeah,
loved it.
I still feel
Yeah,
that way about
yeah.
it. I'm still super passionate about it. And one of the things I used to pride myself on is like, I'll respond to you immediately. Because people would say that, like, you're so
You're
fast
so
to respond.
responsive.
But
Yeah.
then I realized, like, I'm training people to
Yes.
expect that from me. And then I lost all those boundaries because
Right.
people would be texting me at 6 a.m. People would be texting me at 11 o'clock at night expecting a response.
Yep.
Now, sometimes I will respond, but I have tried to set some boundaries for myself. And I think the way we've talked about it, this ebb and flow, is like, that's appropriate, because it is like in the busy spring market,
Yes.
sometimes you have to be more available.
Right.
And there are times when maybe you don't have to be. Right. And so I think it's finding what's the right balance for you. And it takes time. You can't expect to
Absolutely.
have it on day one. And you can't expect what works today to work in a year. Your business changes, you change, your
Yep.
family changes. So it's a constant evolution to find kind of the right sweet spot.
Yeah, and I think for me as a newer agent, it was almost like the busier I was, the more like I made it. Like then I'm super successful, right? But now I think I've changed my perspective where it's not just like close. It's like, how can I be more efficient?
Yeah.
Right? If I can build more free time into my week, then I am successful. And like, what does
Totally.
that look like for me? It's delegating. I was such a control freak, but having an awesome transaction coordinator and having an assistant, I think, really changed my business so that I can focus on not only the sales part of the business and the client-facing stuff, but again, like carve out time where I'm like,
We are
okay.
so similar that way. I mean, it's so funny because I'm the exact same. Like, it's so hard to give up when you're like, I built this and I
Yeah.
want it to be my way, but you can't do it alone.
No.
Right? My coach said to me once, like, busy does not equal success. And you just touched on
That's
that.
100%
And
right.
I used to believe that.
Yeah.
The busier I am, the more successful I
Yes.
am. And when people ask, like when you see your friends and they're like, how are you? What's been going on? And you're like, I'm so busy. That's my go-to response. And I'm really trying to train myself to not respond that way. Like, I need a different word because
Yeah.
I don't want to be so busy.
Right.
I am, but let's use a different word and make it maybe a little bit more positive.
I love that. I know. I kind of cringe when I say it, like, oh, I'm so
Same.
busy, because everybody's busy, right?
Yeah.
And one of my goals this year is to just focus a little bit more on me and not just be about work.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you. I don't want to use the word busy anymore. I think productive is good.
I think one of the things that people don't really realize is how much we carry, right?
Yeah.
Like mentally and emotionally too. I mean, of course, we're carrying our own family things, right? Like parents, children, spouses, all of the things. But then we're carrying so much for our clients. And I think like,
Yeah.
even if you're not physically busy, like you're not in showings, you're not in closings, whatever, you are mentally busy at all hours of the day.
Always.
Because these people are like, you are in charge of the biggest transaction and transition
Right.
of their lives, right?
And the trust that they put in you is so it's so magnified, right? During the period of like house hunting, opening up, putting in offers, opening up escrow, or even advising the seller on how we're going to take your house to market and what's the feedback been. And it's so flattering because they're just always like, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Well, what should we do? And it is a lot of weight to think like, okay, like everything that I say, my client is going to take and really use that to make the best decision for themselves. And so the mental load is for sure, it can be a lot. I'm curious to know, you've got 3 kids, I've got 3 kids. We're kind of in different phases of motherhood since your kids are starting to leave the nest and mine are young, elementary school and below. How was it? I would love to know from your perspective, having kids that have seen you grow your business and really been there for it. Is there anything you would have done differently? And like, how did they perceive your job and your career?
Well, I don't know. TBD, right?
Oh, okay. You'll have to follow up.
I don't know. It's interesting because I think it would be a good exercise for us to hear our families talk about what it's like to be in a relationship or part of a family with someone who does what we do at the volume that we do it. Because I think over the years, they've had to learn that we sometimes our priority has to be someone else.
Yes.
Right? And because of deadlines or the end of option periods or negotiating a contract or multiple offers,
Yes.
like sometimes we don't have the choice but to focus on our client at a time when it may be really inappropriate to not be focusing on our child or our partner.
Tell me
right?
about it. Yes.
So I think like my biggest regret, and I would be curious to hear what my kids think, is like just how many things I missed or how many things I wasn't mentally present at, right? Like I might have been there, but I was on my phone the whole time.
Yes.
Like they could be talking to me, but I didn't hear anything they said.
I mean, I really appreciate you being honest about that, Meredith, because I feel like whether it's being a realtor or it's just any working parent, feel like the pressure of like, oh, I'm doing both so great. But to hear that from you, like saying like, I actually didn't a lot of times, like I actually wasn't present is so refreshing to me because there's so many times when I'm playing with Cece, but I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, oh shit, like I gotta put it away.
Yeah.
I gotta focus
Yeah.
on this. So thank you for like saying that out loud.
I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, right? It's just part of it.
It's real.
Part of me is like, I'm so glad my kids got to witness me building something, especially like as a woman and having my daughter see that. But also like, I want my boys to see that like what a woman can build and
yep.
achieve on her own,
Yes.
independent of someone else too, right?
Yes.
And so there's very much a part of that I'm like, I hope they took away positives. Of course, there will be damage done. And I'll know in 30 years when they come back and tell me about
Mom, I went to therapy
session.
today.
Yeah.
And this is what we talked about.
I think honestly, like we talk a lot about how our kids, but I think also like our partners.
Yeah.
Because we're just not always present and or available. And our partners have to pick up a big load of the responsibility.
Oh, huge.
And how that has shifted over time too, kind of like unspoken shift of responsibilities. That's hard. I think in the beginning, especially like if you're busy and you had a certain role in the house and then that sort of shifted, I think that can be very hard for both people. And I think just like vocalizing it and talking about like, I don't have the bandwidth to make dinner anymore.
Right.
Like, I cannot.
Yeah.
Right. So like just figuring out how do you fill in where either with your partner or third party.
Yeah.
Right? Like outsource.
Yeah, 100% on the outsourcing. I feel like we've been outsourcing a lot more as of late. And I think for newer agents especially, at least for me, I had no idea like how real estate would affect my relationship with my husband, right? Like good and bad. Like it's just something you're not thinking of when you enter the industry of like, oh wow, this is going to take a toll on some of my most important relationships. Obviously there's the flexibility and, it's exciting and all that. But if you're not intentional about having boundaries and being really upfront with your partner about what you can and cannot do, it can be extremely detrimental because your mind is constantly being pulled in so many different directions.
Yeah.
So if I were to go back and, if I was to tell Jenny 8 years ago when I entered the business, like, hey, one of the big rude awakenings you're going to have in real estate is you're going to really have to work hard to set expectations with Tom and have a plan.
Yeah.
Because it hits you so fast, and then you're just both drowning. And
Yeah, and I think that there's no way to avoid it.
Right.
Right? It's not like you can start on day one and be like, I'm never going to let that happen to me, because it doesn't happen until you're so busy. So you're
Yeah.
going to grind and build a business, and one day you're going to pick your head up and be like, wow, I'm so busy and I have no time for
Yeah.
anything else in my life, essentially, right? Of course you're going to make time, but I think just the communication is so critical. And I probably didn't communicate that enough with my kids. So again, like, we'll see.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's funny because now I think my boys especially understand what it is I do. They're 9 and 7, and we'll be in the car and Julian will be like, "Oh, Mom, how much do you think that house is?" Or like, "Hey, look at that agent's listing that house. How come your sign's not there?" And I'm like, "Oh gosh," but it's been good because they come with me to showings sometimes. I mean, sometimes I have to bring them, and I'm like, "Here, you guys got to come," or they'll come to a listing with me, and I'll make them clean the cowboy pool or something.
Yeah.
And so they really do get to see the behind the scenes other than just like, oh, I'm on a call negotiating a deal. Like, a lot goes into this. And same, I think them seeing us building a business and really helping people find homes is special. And, hopefully they do look back and say, man, my mom was a badass.
we are so lucky that we get to do what we do.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
honestly, like the life changes that we get to be a part of is just so incredible. And I think that's what keeps this job so exciting and keeps us doing what we do. Like, how many engagements, how many weddings, how many children, how many grandparents that moved to be close to their
Yeah.
grandchildren. Like,
You
it is
learn so much
special.
about their entire life, really.
Yeah,
I agree.
and we get to be a part of all of that. So, I think the family piece is like, we have our family, but we also have such a huge extended family
Yeah.
because we become a part of these people's lives.
Yeah, the
right?
client family is real. I mean, I just the best feeling is when they call and they're like, "We're expecting a baby. We got to upgrade. Like we gotta find something bigger." And just again to be part of that big chapter,
It's so fun.
It's really
we
cool.
cannot keep up with the babies.
Oh.
My client family. I mean, I feel like every week there's a new baby.
Yeah.
And we, one of the things we love to do is gift to our clients. And so it's like constantly a baby toy coming to the office.
yeah.
And it's so fun for us.
Aw. So Meredith, tell me, if you were to look back at yourself as a young agent, what piece of advice would you give yourself? And to all the newer agents out there.
You've got to go all in. I think so many people get into this industry thinking like, oh, it's flexible. I can kind of do it on the side. And you can.
Yeah.
But you will not be successful. And maybe that's enough,
Yeah.
right? Like everyone defines success their own way. If you want this to be a career though,
yeah.
you have to go all in.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And you have to treat it like a full-time job. I mean, part of the quote unquote flexibility is there is no boss.
Mm-hmm.
There are no office hours.
Yep.
But you get what you make
in,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
right?
have to be so disciplined.
You do.
And
You do.
I agree,
So you
yeah.
have to treat it like a full-time job. And I would tell people, set your alarm every morning, create a routine, get up and get dressed like
Yes.
you're going to an office.
You have to treat it like a real job.
Sit at
you
a
know?
desk. Don't sit at your
Yes.
kitchen table.
Yep.
Don't sit at your kitchen counter. Get out of the house if you have to.
And make colleagues, right?
Yes.
I think that is
Yeah.
huge because it can be so lonely as a realtor, and depending on what brokerage you're at, you can feel like you're just by yourself, even if you're at a huge giant brokerage. And so I think probably my advice would be to newer agents is find your colleague, your community of agents,
Yeah.
whether it's at your brokerage or other agents that do business in the areas that you do. I think that can really elevate you, not only as a professional, but just fulfill you way more, doing this real estate thing.
I think like networking too with agents who are where you want to be, right? I think so many times we find comfort in agents who are doing what we're doing or less than what we're doing.
Right.
But I think if I had started out networking with agents who were where I wanted to be, I don't have any regrets at the pace at which my business grew, but that's what I would probably say to people is like, figure out what those people are doing and start to emulate that or build that into your daily routine.
And I feel like that can be really intimidating for a lot of agents, right? Especially because it is a competitive industry. You know, every client knows 3 or 4 different realtors. But I think putting yourself out there, you know, hosting open houses for agents that you see are doing a lot of listings. You know, I feel like I've really gotten to know a lot of newer agents because they're always calling me and be like, can I do an open house?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, please do my open house. And, you know, we've just developed a relationship and I know I can depend on them for that. But they call me now being like, hey, I've got a question about this and that. And I'm happy to help because we have a relationship. But, you know, I think finding those agents is really important, and you know, it can be really lonely. So
It can be. But you know, I think one of the things I realize now beyond the side of it is we all started with nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we all started at the bottom and worked our way up. And we want to reach down and help pull those people up.
Yes.
And I think to your point, like it can feel intimidating to call or reach out to an agent who's more established or has a big business, but we're not untouchable.
Yeah.
We're human. And we were all there.
And we also
So-
don't know everything.
No.
So like I feel like I'm still learning. I mean,
Totally.
every day something
Every
new.
day we're
Yeah, every
learning
deal.
new.
I'm like, wait
So
a minute.
I love like taking that mentor role and
Yeah.
just like helping people. I think that's another piece of advice I would give is like find a mentor
Mm-hmm.
because there's just so much to know in this industry. And your real estate classes don't even scratch the surface
Yeah.
of the knowledge you'll need to be successful. So find someone who's doing it. And
Yeah, or surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. Like I do not want to be
Always.
the smartest or biggest fish in the room
No.
because I've always got something to learn. Okay, so we always like to end every episode with a counter offer. So Meredith, this is when you get to counter offer an experience of mine or something that I've been through. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you do when a buyer asks to use the bathroom in a listing that you're showing? Do you let them use it or not?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, this is controversial.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like one, we're all moving quickly, right? And it's like, I mean, what is the other option?
Right? Yeah, I know. Okay, so I've had listing agents specifically say, please do not use the bathroom.
Well, in that case, of course, I would not.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I've also seen at showings where they'll like tape the toilet. Usually it's like a vacant home.
Yesterday I was at a vacant home and they had a beautiful bow over
Oh,
every toilet.
yeah.
So not just like a piece of ugly tape.
Yeah, not like blue
but
tape.
a beautiful
Okay, I
satin
like that
bow.
touch.
And I was like, that, okay.
You can't go pee in that,
No, you
right?
cannot.
Yeah, I do always tell my buyers if we're at a new construction to run the water,
Same.
flush the toilet,
Yeah.
make sure that it's running because that's happened at my listing. Where right after the freeze, I had a showing and someone decided to use
water
the
was
bathroom
off.
and it was off and it was not pretty. So, yeah, but I agree. I think with buyers, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
What else are you going to do? I mean,